Hi everybody, welcome to my channel Frugalisama. My name's Sam and this is where I talk about all things sewing. So today I have got a quick Sew Frugal 22 update and I'm just going to be bringing you some of the sponsors for the challenge that I'm doing. So if you've not heard of the Sew Frugal 22 challenge, very briefly, it's a challenge that Ruan and I, the Yorkshire Sew Girl, have set up over on Instagram. We've got 70 vloggers talking about the challenge, giving you inspiration every day. So today we've got So Do It Emma and we've got Creative Mama of 3. I'll leave the playlists below so you can go and watch their videos. But I thought I'd just come on during the month of March and give you some details of the sponsors that we've got for the competition. If you're not sure what the challenge is, I'll put a graphic up so you can see. It's to make a garment during the month of March using a free pattern and using your own fabric that you've got in your stash. We don't want you to go out and buy new fabric. And the reveal date is on Instagram on the 31st of March. So that's it very briefly. We've got a live chat video explaining it all, which again I'll link below at the top of the playlist. So today's sponsor is Minerva. I'm sure you've all heard of Minerva. They're quite a large fabric and haberdashery company based in the UK here. They've very kindly sponsored a £100 haberdashery bundle. So I've just had a chat with last year's winner, who is Becky at Go So Beautiful, who happens to have set up her own channel since winning and has done a video for the challenge as well, so I'll link that below. I've just had a chat with her and she said that the bundle consisted of a sewing box with lots of embroidery floss, some bits of haberdashery like D-rings, elastic, rivets, that sort of thing. Possibly more crafting than it is traditional dressmaking. But yeah, it's useful to know that Becky lives in the States and Minerva are more than happy to post out their prize out to the States. So that's a prize. And also Minerva at the moment are doing a free pattern by McCalls, and it's the McCalls M7969. So I thought I'd just briefly give you some details about that, because as I understand it, it's only free for a limited time. I thought it was until the 28th of February, which is today, but I can't actually find anything confirming that. So if you do want it, it's linked below and get it now. So essentially what you need to do is sign up to the Minerva website and subscribe to their newsletter, and then you will be sent a link for the pattern. If you're already a subscriber to Minerva, you should have something in your inbox, and it will be like a little survey for people who are already subscribers, and it's just asking you some very brief questions, and then you are given a page where it's got the links to the instructions and the links to the pattern. The pattern will go straight to your downloads. So if you're looking for it and you can't see where it's gone, it goes straight to your downloads. If you just look in there, it should be there. So very briefly about the pattern, it's designed for wovens, a non-stretch woven, so that would be a crepe or a viscose or a Tana lawn, something like that, with a little bit of drape, georgette as well, and a chalet. So I have seen a review of somebody who's made it in, I think it was a viscose or a chalet, and it actually grew quite a bit. And she's done it in a linen now, and I will link her channel below because it's a good little synopsis of it. And she has done it in a linen blend now, and it looks absolutely beautiful. It's just a loose pullover style, so no zips or buttons, so fantastic if you're a relatively new sewer and you don't want to tackle anything a bit more complicated. It comes in 2 lengths, and then you can add ruffles to those lengths, so you can have it above the knee or full length, which is like a maxi length. Then you've got 4 sleeve options, so you've got a loose sort of flutter sleeve, you've got similar length but with ruffles on. You can have 2 sets of ruffles on, or you can have below your elbow but above your wrist, so between wrist and elbow, gathered into a very narrow cuff. The bodice is like a crossover faux style. It is quite a deep V. So it's finished with the bias binding, and that bias binding is visible, so you want to be making it out of the same fabric. They give you pattern pieces for cutting it out, but I would just do that as on a 10-inch square. I've got a video showing you how to do that. So it comes in 2 size bands, and that is from extra small to medium, so starting from a 29.5-inch bust. The second size band is large to extra large, and that goes up to a 48-inch bust. Maximum hip on this one is 50 inches. However, it's just gathered into the waist, so it is quite oversized. But I would have liked to have seen some sort of finished garment measurements on there, and I can't find them anywhere. So sadly, I can't give you those, and I don't think it's particularly size inclusive. but I would go on your bust size, and I think I would probably be tempted to make a toile with this one, because I know from past experience that McCalls run quite big. So although my size banding fits into probably either a medium or a large, I would toile it at the smaller size, I think, but I would definitely toile it because it takes up a lot of fabric. You're looking at between 2.5 to 4 metres, depending on the size and the style that you want. And yeah, you don't really want to be cutting into your good fabric if it's going to be too big or too small. I think it's more likely to be too big than too small is this pattern. But what I have seen is a couple of versions where they've just made the bodice part and then put a peplum on and made it as a top. So that's a good way of toiling it as well, just save you good fabric. So if big ruffled puffy sleeves aren't really your thing, or you can't get a cardigan over it, because I think it would be a good spring or summer pattern with this. But spring and summer in the UK, you definitely need a cardigan, and those kind of sleeves do prevent you from wearing a cardigan over it. I've seen a version by Sew Dainty where she's just done the shorter sleeve version and then put elastic around the top and just brought it in a bit, and I thought that was a really nice variation. So a couple of words of warning on this one. Number one, there's no pockets drafted for it, so if you want pockets, think about that before you cut into it and draft yourself some. Loads of tutorials for that online, and there's no A0 printing for this one, unfortunately, so you'll need to stick all those pages together. So if you're not a fan, it might not be the one for you. If you know of a method of exporting A4 patterns onto A0, if you've seen a blog post or a YouTube tutorial, leave me a comment in the comments below and I will put a highlight to that so that people can see it, because I think that would be a useful thing to do. And if there's nothing out there, I'll try and do a video myself. I'm sure it's possible. So yeah, just grab yourself a cuppa or a G&T, whatever you want. Stick on the playlist for the Sew Frugal 22 and get sticking, and let me know below also which is your preferred method. Do you use sellotape or do you use glue? I've never been able to get on with the glue. I always think it tends to come unstuck over time for some reason. It's probably because I'm using cheap glue, because I'm a cheapskate, but yeah, let me know. Are you team sellotape or team Pritt stick? Also on the review that I saw, she did say that it doesn't tell you to stay stitch on that V there, and that is a bias cut. They do tell you to interface the binding, and I can see why they do that. I would use just a lightweight one. She does say that they don't tell you to stay stitch that, and I think that would definitely need stay stitching. Back onto the printing, the skirt is just a big triangle, and I would have loved for them to give us some sort of dimensions so you didn't have to print that out. It's about 13 pages for the one that I looked at. So it's just like all you're doing is sticking pages together, you know, to get a big triangle. So if you're not a fan of sticking, maybe try and measure off what the equivalent would be, and you know, it doesn't have to be too accurate, because all you're doing is gathering into the bodice and you do it to the length that you want, so it doesn't have to be that accurate really. So that would be my top tip, because there are like 50 pages to stick together, so if you don't want to do 50, that cuts it down somewhat. So if you're not a big fan of the traditional method of gathering, I do have a video showing you how to gather with elastic. That just ensures that your gathers are nice and even and fit into the bodice. There's loads and loads of different methods of gathering, but that is just a video that I put together because that's the way that I find it easiest. The other thing is there's no test square on this, so I would print at 100%. I think it's because it's not actually been designed to be a print at home pattern. So that is just a few words of warning on this pattern if you're going to go for it. But it does seem to have been a really popular pattern, does this. If you go onto Instagram or even the Minerva website, type in the pattern number, you'll see loads and loads of beautiful examples of it, which hopefully I've been showing you throughout whilst I've been talking. So yeah, lovely pattern. I'm sure if you're on Instagram you'll have seen it over the last couple of years, and it's really nice to see it on different body types, styled differently, and you know, if you're not sure that it's your cup of tea, it's also some reviews on Pattern Review as well, and if you Google it there's lots of reviews. So yeah, I'm going to be honest, you've got to love this pattern in order to stick all these pattern pieces together and use all that fabric up. And remember, it is using stash fabric, so it needs to be quite a lot of fabric, so I would definitely toile this. So hopefully I'm going to be bringing you a video like this every day, short and sharp, just highlighting one of the sponsors, probably not as long as this each time. And so if you hit the notification bell, that will tell you when I've got videos out, because hitting the subscribe, that doesn't tell you when I've got new videos out, but the notification bell does. So that's it from me today. I hope I can keep this up through March, and I shall speak to you later. Bye.